Hi everyone, I wanted to do an update to a previous video I had done on the Kurt Cobain case and about the emergence of Joseph Burns into the case. There was a Facebook group and a YouTube channel here, which I won't mention by name, but they released this big statement that Joseph Burns was going to cause the entire case to be reopened, blah, 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 which we've heard a million times for a million different reasons at this point over the last 20 plus years. But for those of you that haven't seen his interview footage, I urge you to go ahead and go watch it. The entire video hasn't been released that I know of because, like I said, it's all for clicks and views. So, it's done like little teaser trailers, and Joseph Burns is so heroined out during these interviews that his rambling makes no sense. His facts don't match up, or his statements don't match up to the facts, should I say. And there was a couple things that I wanted to point out as well. Yes, I mentioned he was heroined out. Of course, he's a heroin addict. Kurt and Courtney associated with 99% heroin addicts because they were heroin addicts. So you're going to find a lot of sketchy people and unreliable people with this case, as we all know from the last 20 plus years. So my biggest issue with Joseph Burns' statement is, first of all, for 20 years he kept quiet that he knew what happened to the world's biggest rock star, or anyone for that matter. I don't care that he was the world's biggest rock star. But in anyone's death, that you're going to sit there and withhold information for 20 plus years. Why? Because it definitely wasn't just fear, because you've come along now and said it, and those people, if it did come from Courtney, she'd be more powerful now. But regardless of whatever motivations were there, it doesn't make sense that, yes, Cobain's house was a hangout for heroin addicts, other musicians, drug dealers, whatever, as we all can imagine. But if you're going to unalive a rock star, you're not going to do it in a house full of people. You're not going to rush people out of there and be the last people seen with Cobain. It doesn't make any logical sense, because somebody else would have come forward by now. Joseph Burns claims there were several other people at the house that were booted out at the same time as him. Okay, and none of them have come forward all these years. Doesn't make much sense. And Joseph Burns also claims other people got paid off to be quiet, which, hey, trust me, I think there was some of that going on as well. But it sounds to me like Joseph Burns is trying to get his money. He's a desperate addict who's been exploited at this point by the so-called Kurt Cobain detectives, online detective force. I was going to also state real quick in this that my personal opinion, the suspects that I would look closely at, and everybody says Courtney, and that's probably is where it all starts, but I can't say that. I'm going to do a lot more videos on this, and I'll get to my thing on Courtney and come to a better decision on her. I do think she was involved, but where I would personally start would be Dylan Carlson. 100% Dylan Carlson is where I would start. Not only did he do sketchy things during the Tom Grant investigation, a lot of which was caught on audio and film, he supposedly provided the gun that was used in the Cobain, we'll just call it a case. There's a lot of sketchiness with Dylan Carlson. A lot of sketchiness. And I think that he had the most to gain. He's an addict. He needed money for musical projects and such that he was working on. And Kurt was always a good source of money for Dylan Carlson and a lot of other people. So if being offered enough money and heroin to keep him good for a while, yeah, I do believe he would have done it, and I do believe he had a lot to do with it. He kind of interjected himself into the case too, which a lot of killers do, whether they're I'm not saying he's a crazy serial killer or anything, but a lot of killers and people involved with crimes do just out of their own nervousness to find out what's going on and to be kept in the loop. And Carlson was a heroin addict, so he deaf and paranoid and sketched out and just sketchy all the way around, but he would have definitely wanted to know what was going on, and so would Courtney. That's why Courtney hired Tom Grant, I'm sure, who, as you know, blew the doors wide open on the whole case and said this isn't adding up, Courtney's lying, etc. I suggest you look into Tom Grant and his entire view of the case and his work on it. There's a lot of people that have worked on it. That's why there's 360 different degrees in every direction, if that makes sense. But I'm going to try looking back at it piece by piece and do a lot more videos on it. If you have thoughts about the Joseph Burns or any other piece of this investigation, please go ahead and comment, because I'd love to hear more from the Kurt Cobain community. And thank you so much. That's my dog Gypsy. She's wanting to play. Have a great day, everyone. Keep your heads up. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you super soon.